It's time for NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. The latest from the Wenatchee Valley and North Central Washington with Steve Hare, Grant Olson, and sports with Eric Granstrom.
Good evening and welcome to NCW Life News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top story, let's take a quick look at our weather forecast, and we are seeing some weather changes as we move along. First, our weather window, and there's what we're seeing outside today, looking down at the George Seller Bridge and the walking bridge. I'm sure you'll all agree, not quite as smoky today as we've seen over the last 7 or 8 days, and that will continue to be our trend as we work our way through this week, into the weekend, and next week changes are coming. We'll talk more about that in your weather forecast later on in our broadcast. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. Work begins on a roundabout on the east side that comes with traffic impacts. We'll have an update on the Diamond Creek fire near Mazama, and Senator Cantwell will host a town hall this weekend. Later on, we'll have sports, your weather forecast, and our feature story today. But first, at a joint public hearing involving both the East Wenatchee City Council and Douglas County Commissioners last night, the issue to allow higher densities and smaller lot sizes in residential zoning districts was discussed and voted on. The controversial proposal to change East Wenatchee municipal codes regarding the higher densities was also discussed at a council meeting in May of 2016, and like that meeting, area residents had strong opinions.
A year ago, and I'll probably say the same thing that I said then, which is I think the minimum density is a good idea to allow people to do, but to require landowners to do it is not a good idea. It takes people's property rights away from them. There are many cases where people bought properties many years ago, 40, 50 years ago, back in the 60s and 70s, with the intent that they would be able to subdivide their property, maybe have their kids live on the property as they got older. And my understanding of this ordinance, and I'm sure you've looked into it a lot more than I have, is that that would preclude people from doing that.
There's nothing in the Growth Management Act or the rules adopted. There are two that mandate, require a city to have mandatory high density. That's sort of the way it's been sold.
I have no problem with medium and high density areas, but I think there should be some sort of an exception on people that have larger pieces that they've dreamed of. This is part of living in the United States, is being able to do some of the stuff that we have. We are very, very blessed people that live in the United States, and I think that we should have at least some exceptions and or grandfathered clauses of some sort. So, thank you.
The new ordinance amending the East Wenatchee Municipal Code and adding a new section to establish minimum density standards was rejected by the joint session of commissioners and council members.
To pass the ordinance.
To pass the ordinance.
Is there a second? The ordinance will fail and be denied effectively if there's no second to the motion. Hearing no second, the ordinance will not pass.
The special joint public hearing also took up ordinances regarding lot dimensions and sizes, setbacks, livestock and poultry provisions, accessory dwelling units, and off-street parking. Work began this week on the construction of a new roundabout on the east side of the Senator George Seller Bridge in East Wenatchee. Jeff Adamson with the Department of Transportation says during construction, traffic will be detoured around the project to reduce congestion.
The biggest impact on traffic is going to be people traveling between the Seller Bridge and Valley Mall. And that piece of 5th Street Northeast that runs from Valley Mall Parkway down to SR 28 is going to be closed for the next couple of weeks. And in order to get back to the bridge or away from it, you're going to need to use 9th Street or Grant Road.
The 5th Street roundabout is the first of 3 to be built in East Wenatchee. It's scheduled for completion by the end of the month. 2 more will be created at the intersections of Sunset Highway and 9th Street and Valley Mall Parkway, also at 9th Street. Those 2 projects are scheduled for construction in 2019. The Diamond Creek Fire in the Pasayten Wilderness in northeast Washington continues to burn along steep slopes in the Diamond Creek Drainage and Billy Goat Trailhead. Tracy Weaver, communications specialist with the U.S. Forest Service, says fire crews have built fire lines completely around the 12,000-acre blaze and have even had a little help from the wildfires burning in British Columbia.
We're managing the Diamond Creek Fire as a suppression fire. We just are having to build a little bit bigger box around that fire to contain it due to the terrain and the fuel type that it's burning in. One of the benefits of the smoke from the fires in Canada is it's actually shaded out the Diamond Creek Fire several times, and it's limited the growth to some extent. The fire is now 12,278 acres, so they are making good progress. They're going to transition that fire to a Type 3 team within the next couple of days, having everything in place, the long-term plan in place, and having made good progress on the Diamond Creek.
No homes or structures have been lost in the Diamond Creek Fire, and it's burning about 20 to 30 miles north of Mazama. Wenatchee High School Auditorium is the venue for Saturday's Town Hall event hosted by U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell. The doors open at 9 a.m. and the meeting starts at 10. It's open to the general public, but you have to pre-register for a ticket to get in. The senator will also field questions, but attendees will have to enter a raffle and then be chosen by drawing. Cantwell's Wenatchee visit follows several town hall events in the Seattle area. She also plans another event in Spokane next week. Stamilk Growers announced recipients of its 2016 Grower Awards. Recipients were selected based on the high quality of fruit they produced during the 2016 crop year. For the full list of award winners, visit our website at ncwlife.com. Coming up, NCW Life's Steve Hare talks burn bans with Chelan County's new fire marshal, and NASA warns of knockoff solar eclipse glasses for the upcoming celestial event. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching NCW Life News.
At Doghouse Motorsports, we ride what we sell. There's a lot we could say about the CD Spark and the CD GTI, but ultimately, the ride says it all.
We've been in the cleaning industry for over 10 years, and we notice a need in the housing market for reliable, professional, and specialized cleaning and finishing company.
They come in with spunk and personality, a lot of energy, and they take pride in their business.
We offer a wide array of cleaning solutions, no matter how big or small the job. Anything from new construction to move-in, move-outs, we do it all. Give us a call today to see how we can help you with your cleanup.
The failure of the Washington State Legislature to pass a capital budget leaves many area projects in limbo, including renovations at Kashmere High School. But that's not the case with the addition of classrooms and cafeterias at Eastmont High School. District Superintendent Garn Christensen says even though Eastmont secured funding for its project prior to the legislature's failure to pass a capital budget, many schools will suffer.
We do not have any pending projects that have not already been encumbered in the budget. We have a $10 million grant that has been authorized in the prior budget that will help us build some classrooms throughout the district. However, there are many districts across the state that we're waiting for approval of this year's budget so their projects could go forward. And yes, it's going to have a profound impact. I know districts that are having to delay and stop their processes and extend their timelines for bidding and construction and actual occupation.
Funding for the Eastmont construction project will come from the $10 million K-3 class size reduction grant and the capital levy passed by voters last fall. Conditions are right for wildfires in north central Washington. Chelan County commissioners have ramped up restrictions, including an outright ban on all outdoor burning. The county's fire marshal, Bob Plum, says it won't take much to spark a fire under these current conditions.
It's been hot for quite a while, and it doesn't look like it's going to cool down anytime soon. I think the National Weather Service has today's temperature predicted at 100, and it's supposed to be that tomorrow and the next day as well. That's drying things out even more. It was already dry.
Absolutely. So we're now in extreme fire danger. What will that mean for folks here in Chelan County?
It means no open burning. It's no campfires, no fire pits in the backyard. We just want no open flames. Things will ignite very quickly and easily outside. The restriction does allow commercially manufactured barbecues to be used at your home. And if you have like a wood stove or pellet stove, not that I think you need the extra heat, but if they're enclosed and built into your homes, you can still use those.
Plum also advises motorists that seasonal road restrictions are in place, which prohibits any off-road travel. Well, are you hoping to catch the solar eclipse on August 21st? Many people are gearing up for the phenomenon, with the demand for safe viewing glasses skyrocketing on online markets like Amazon. In order to directly view the eclipse, you must wear glasses that are ISO 12312-2 compliant. Without glasses, the eclipse could cause permanent damage to your eyes. With such a high demand, the American Astronomical Society has put out a warning, citing an alarming number of reports of potentially unsafe eclipse viewers flooding the market. For those who want to buy glasses, the Society recommends 12 manufacturers whose products have been checked for safety, and with a list of vendors who are selling the glasses at eclipse.aas.org. Navigate to the Resources tab and click on Solar Filters and Viewers. This will be the first total eclipse since 1979 and is expected to last 2 hours and 38 minutes. Check out our website for more resources. You're watching NCW Life News. Coming up next, Eric Granstrom has your sports update, followed by our feature story today. That and much more still to come right here on NCW Life News. Stay with us. Is your vehicle in need of a quick oil change or tune-up before hitting the road this summer? Stop by Quick Lube and Tune, the home of the good guys at 610 South Wenatchee Avenue.
And now it's a sports update on the NCW Life channel.
And a happy hump day. Well, we're just a few weeks away from another school year starting, which means another season of high school sports here on the NCW Life channel. We're putting together quite an aggressive schedule of a mix of live and tape play-by-play of Wenatchee and Eastmont sports, including football, girls soccer, and girls volleyball. We'll also keep you covered on other local schools such as Cashmere, Cascade, Chelan, Etiat, Waterville, and Manson. In addition, we're excited to announce the extension of our relationship with the Wenatchee Wild and the return of Thursday night hockey featuring game broadcasts and the Call of the Wild with Art Checker. As an example, here's a look at our first 2 weeks of the fall lineup on the NCW Life channel. There you see Southridge Wenatchee football live right away on Labor Day weekend on Friday the 1st. Kamaikan and Eastmont football. We'll have that on a tape delay later on in the month, but quite an aggressive schedule coming your way this fall. Announcing games this year for the NCW Life channel will be Sebastian Moraga, Matt Wiesen. They'll be doing the soccer duties. Jay Seebeck's going to help us out with some football. Leanne Branham will join me with some volleyball as well right here on the NCW Life channel. Well, Nelson Cruz had 2 monster home runs, and the Seattle Mariners concluded a quick 2-game sweep of Oakland today with a score of 6-3. Kyle Seager got things going for Seattle offensively in the bottom of the first, with 2 outs, cranking a 3-run homer to center field. Oakland's Matt Joyce homered off Seattle starter Giovanni Gallardo to make it 3-1 before Cruz launched a 450-foot 2-run homer. That made it 5-1 in the third. Emilio Pagan worked 2 2/3 innings of relief, earning the win, while Edwin Diaz finished off the A's in the ninth for his 25th save. With a win, the Mariners temporarily at least moved into the second wildcard playoff spot by themselves, a half game ahead of Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Seattle finished the road trip 6-3, is currently the hottest team in the American League since the All-Star break. Manager Scott Service says the club is really stepping up.
brought it every day. We talked about bringing it when we started on this trip. You know, knowing that we got so many games ahead of us on the road in August, just embrace it, go after it. Our team's really come together nice, and you know, nice way to end it here. You know, Nelson Cruz, Sieg with the big homers, a great catch by Ben Gamble in the outfield, and you know, Gallardo struggled command-wise early today, a high pitch count, and Emilio Pagan, again, kind of does what he does. He comes in, throws strikes, nice little breaking ball, and settled the game down for us, and you know, we had enough pitching to shut it down at the end. So, you know, it's nice to keep winning series. That's the goal. That's what we talked about coming out of the All-Star break, and you know, it's been really good so far.
Service says he likes the combination of what he's seeing with great relief pitching and the offense hitting the long ball.
Big home run by Siegs in the first inning, get us off on a good side, down in the count, you know, got a change up and really drove the ball. And, you know, I don't know if Nelson Cruz can hit two harder balls than he did today. I think the first one might have been, first home run might have been the hardest home run he's hit ever this year or whatever since StatCast has been out there. So, no, really happy with our ball club where we're at right now. The team has really come together, and, you know, if we get enough pitching, our offense is rolling pretty good right now.
Seattle returns home for only the second stand this in the month of August at Safeco Field. They'll take on Angels in 4, Baltimore in 3. James Paxton will go tomorrow for the M's against Tyler Skaggs. First pitch at 7:10. Also in the American League West today, a lot of early games. The Angels beat Baltimore 5-1. It was Texas downing the Mets 5-1. Houston and Chicago play later on tonight. Also a quick look at the wild card standings. New York #1. And there you see it, the Mariners right now in that second position. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Grandstrom on the NCW Life Channel. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. For our feature today, NCW Life's Steve Hare sat down with Chelan County's new Fire Marshal Bob Plum, who comes back to his hometown of Wenatchee from Alaska.
Bob comes to us from Alaska, actually, where he was state fire marshal?
No, I was a deputy fire marshal with the Department of Public Safety. So it's actually, everybody says I was the fire marshal, but they'd be a little upset because there's a fire marshal, an assistant fire marshal, and then a supervisor, and then there were 7 of us that covered the state.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how it was that you made it to Wenatchee and Chelan County?
Well, I grew up here. Graduated in '72. Class reunion coming up this fall. Push for that, anybody from '72. I ended up getting involved in mountain climbing and rock climbing right in high school, and that took me to Alaska in the late '70s, early '80s. I ended up in a volunteer fire department and worked up through the ranks and ended up with a paid position. And then in 2000, I went to work for the state of Alaska as a deputy fire marshal, and I retired a year ago in May up there. Came down, played all last summer and all last winter, and then a friend of mine pointed out the job announcement for this position that I've got now, and I wasn't planning on being back at work 3 months ago, and here I am.
So essentially you're coming back home.
I am.
That's fantastic.
I really like it here.
We'll be back in just a moment with the recap of today's stories and your complete local weather forecast right after this.
Gather friends and family and support Youth United with Color Rush. This untimed 5K event is for all ages on Sunday, August 20th. Sign up today at colorwenatchee.com.
Welcome back, and now for a recap of our top stories. Conditions are ripe for wildfires in north central Washington. Chelan County commissioners have ramped up restrictions, including an outright ban on all outdoor burning. The county's fire marshal, Bob Plum, says it won't take much to spark a fire under these current conditions.
It's been hot for quite a while, and it doesn't look like it's going to cool down anytime soon. I think the National Weather Service has today's temperature predicted at 100, and it's supposed to be that tomorrow and the next day as well. That's drying things out even more. It was already dry.
Absolutely. So we're now in extreme fire danger. What will that mean for folks here in Chelan County?
It means no open burning. It's no campfires, no fire pits in the backyard. We just want no open flames. Things will ignite very quickly and easily outside. The restriction does allow commercially manufactured barbecues to be used at your home. And if you have like a wood stove or pellet stove, not that I think you need the extra heat, but if they're enclosed and built into your homes, you can still use those.
Plum also advises motorists that seasonal road restrictions are also in place, which prohibits any off-road travel. The failure of the Washington State Legislature to pass a capital budget leaves many projects in limbo, including renovations at Kashmere High School. But that's not the case with the addition of classrooms and cafeterias at the Eastmont School District. District Superintendent Garn Christensen says even though Eastmont secured funding for its project prior to the legislature's failure to pass a capital budget, many schools will suffer.
We do not have any pending projects that have not already been encumbered in the budget. We have a $10 million grant that has been authorized in the prior budget that will help us build some classrooms throughout the district. However, there are many districts across the state that were waiting for approval of this year's budget so their projects could go forward. And yes, it's going to have a profound impact. I know districts that are having to delay and stop their processes and extend their timelines for bidding and construction and actual occupation.
Funding for the Eastmont construction project will come from the $10 million K-3 class size reduction grant and the capital levy passed by voters last fall. Time now for your weather forecast for north central Washington. Before we get to that, let's take a look outside our weather window. And yeah, another smoky one across north central Washington, although, and I think you'll agree, not quite as bad as what we've seen over the past 7 or 8 days, but still plenty of smoke out there. Air quality from unhealthy to good around most of the Wenatchee Valley today. And as we take a look at our satellite picture, we are still seeing winds coming down from the west and a little area of low pressure off Vancouver Island, which will bring the possibility for mainly afternoon mountain thunderstorms through the work week. But by late this weekend, we'll see the beginning of a cooling trend as high pressure moves out and a large area of low pressure coming down from the Gulf of Alaska will move in. The cold front is expected to move through our area on Monday with the cool and unstable upper level low slowly moving through behind it, and that'll be on Tuesday or Wednesday. This will result in a period of widespread showers and possibly thunderstorms, much cooler temperatures, and maybe even some breezy, gusty winds. The good news, we will cool down, the smoke will go away, and we could see some much needed rain in our forecast. Let's take a look at that forecast now. A mild overnight low tonight expected once again of about 70 degrees. Don't know if we'll make 100 today, but I'm pretty confident that we will see triple digits on Thursday. That will be our first time in a long time. In fact, we haven't seen a 100-degree temperature yet this year. For Friday and Saturday, changing weather. Thunderstorms possible on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And look at those cooler temperatures. Sunday through Tuesday, mid-80s, which is below where we should be for this time of year. And lows at night by next week will drop down in the lower to mid-60s. And as we close our newscast tonight, the saga has ended for Logan Mayberry in his walk across America. He completed his one-man 3,000-mile trek from St. Louis to Seattle on Monday at Golden Garden Park Beach in Seattle.
Go for it, dude. Yeah.
Wow! Oh my God, that's a celebration here! We're proud of you! You walked all the way across America, 3,000 miles.
Mayberry used his marathon walk as an inspiration to children to chase their dreams. Logan documented the entire 3,000-mile march on Facebook. And if you have a video of the day you'd like to see on NCW Life News, message us on our Facebook page at the NCW Life channel. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us and have a great night.
This has been NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. For more news, log on to ncwlife.com, like us on Facebook, and follow NCW Life channel on Twitter.
Have a fun video you'd like to see featured on NCW Life? Email us at newsphotos@ncwlife.com.